underwriting standpoint, what we've seen a lot of is, I'll use that automation word again, but just supplementing the submission with third-party data that one helps you underwrite faster because you don't have to ask all those questions up front, right? Like you're basically validating as opposed to asking. And so we're seeing a lot of opportunities for third-party data vendors that have combined the data in unique proprietary ways that can give you insights to what's happening with your book of business, even validate that what you're underwriting is accurate. So some of those NICS code solutions as well. I think new and distinct data sources as well. So how do you underwrite someone when you want to use something that's not their credit score, right? So what are the alternative data sets that you can use to, behavioral analytics is an area that's growing as well. So how can you take this information to understand how someone, what kind of risk somebody is just by the way that some components that, like how are they on social media or there's tons of data opportunities, even like with telematics. How does this person drive, right? Like what predictably, what can this tell me? All of that goes into the consideration for underwriting. But again, you have to have a basis of information to hit up those third-party data sets up against to compare and contrast, and then ultimately make the right underwriting decision, or figure out what variables you use to price a risk, and then by default pass those on to the states and get them approved by the regulators to be able to use that in your pricing.
The components of the pricing model have to be approved by the state regulators. I did not know this.
Yeah, and so the regulators are I'm oversimplifying this, but are there to protect the consumer, right? Like they don't want insurance carriers can't just use whatever they want to underwrite you because there could be bias in those models. There could be bias against, certain demographics if you do that. And so it is an art form. This is also something we could probably dive into of just what are the variables that you use in your pricing model? How do you weigh those variables? Then are they approved by the regulators? And then there's a whole art to how you submit that, right? Like you don't want to give away your secret sauce that everyone can figure out how you price risk, but there is some, it can't just be a black box. Like there has to be some level of transparency there.
Some interesting information theoretic topics there.